The Kabbalistic interpretation of the story of Adam and Eve offers a deeply symbolic understanding of human nature and spiritual development. In Kabbalah, the figures in Genesis represent aspects of the human soul, and the narrative serves as a metaphor for the journey of self-realization, spiritual growth, and rectification, known as tikkun. Adam represents the higher spiritual self or the divine spark within a person. Eve symbolizes the desire or emotional aspect, which seeks connection but is susceptible to external influence. The serpent represents the ego and the lower selfish desires that lead a person away from spiritual alignment. These three elements are not separate beings but rather aspects of one individual. The inner conflict between divine will, which is Adam, emotional desires, which is Eve, and ego, which is the serpent, are at the heart of the human experience. Humans are made up of these three inner desires, all competing to rule the person's existence. In Kabbalistic thought, the tree of life, etz chaim, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, etz hadat, are sometimes understood as representing different dimensions of the same spiritual reality. They are, in fact, the same tree. The key difference lies in how one approaches this knowledge. Eating from it while being driven by the desire to please God, the tree was a source of life. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree selfishly, driven by the ego, it led to a fall from a pure state of unity with the divine. The sin wasn't the eating itself, but the intention behind it, the desire to grasp for selfish knowledge and power for one's own egotistical pursuit. Desire, ego, and the fall. According to Kabbalah, the fall of Adam represents the descent into a state dominated by ego, self-interest, and separation from the divine source, or life. The serpent, seen as the ego, tempted Adam and Eve, appealing to their selfish desires and urging them to act independently of God. This separation from divine consciousness is symbolic of the current human condition. The task for us all now is to rectify, or tikkun, this fallen state by overcoming the ego and realigning ourselves with the divine will. We do this through love of God and by following His ways, as outlined in the Torah, over our own egos. Rectification and working with God. The Kabbalistic path is one of self-transformation. By conquering the serpent or the ego and crushing the head of the serpent, as stated in Genesis 3:15, a person can rectify their soul and help bring about the rectification of the world. This is done through spiritual work, ethical behavior, and aligning one's desires with the divine purpose as revealed in the Torah. In this sense, Adam's fall is not simply a story of sin, but a necessary part of the human journey towards spiritual evolution. The fall provides the opportunity for growth, as it creates the conditions for a return to divine unity through conscious effort. The fall has given us a world in which we can now, with free will, choose to serve God and conquer evil, which is embodied in our own ego and selfish desires. This interpretation reflects the Kabbalistic view that the physical world, with all its struggles and challenges, is an arena for spiritual growth, and that each person's task is to rectify their own inner world, which in turn contributes to the rectification of the entire creation. By conquering our own ego through pursuing righteousness, we transform humanity and bring light into the world.